Bear, I think the worst kept secret over the last couple of weeks is finally out of the bag even further.
They canceled The Biggest Loser on TV?
Oh, I didn't hear that. Is that true?
It's true, yeah.
No. I was talking about Greg Gard.
Oh, Greg Gard. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. All right.
He's the opposite of The Biggest Loser
He
these
is.
days.
He's the biggest winner right now. Good for him. 5 years, I think it was. And, hey, if you'd have told either one of us 2 months ago that he'd be the head coach next year, we'd have said you're crazy.
Yeah,
so,
probably wouldn't have been too
he's
happy
earned
about
it. I think the players respect him and want to play hard for him. And, I think Barry, it was for Alvarez, he had to bite a little humble pie and bite the bullet. And if he wouldn't have named him coach, there'd have been a lot of uproar. So
right.
I think he didn't have a choice.
Considering what he's done.
Couldn't
really go against it. We'll talk a little more about Greg Gard. They introduced him at the press conference on Tuesday. And Evansville boys, our only basketball team still alive in the
Blue Devils.
in the WIA tournament. We'll talk about their matchups in the coming week and maybe sprinkle in a little Jets back at home finally after what seemed like
after a month in Alaska. They went north to Alaska for a month.
And then Minnesota. I mean, it seems like they haven't been here since January, but they'll be back this weekend, so we'll toss in a little Jets at the end coming up on this episode of Extra Points. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Extra Points. John Barry over here in his Cal Bears. What are we?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
Aaron Rodgers.
A-Rod.
Yep.
I'm Eric Schmoldt. We get together every week and talk about what's going on in the world of sports around here in southern Wisconsin and parts unknown as well.
Almost 70 degrees today.
Exactly. We had to bust out Suns Out, Guns
short
Out, right?
sleeve. Man. Take us to the gun show.
I didn't get mine, but
I didn't either.
Maybe they're in the mail. It's been an interesting week of news for Badger basketball. Obviously, a busy time of year. They closed out the season with a loss against Purdue. They got the Big Ten tournament coming up this week. Over the weekend, Deadspin comes out with its report on Bo Ryan. Some infidelity, but not really.
Not at the UW's expense or the taxpayers' expense. So
and then Greg Gard's hired. So I guess where do you want to start?
Bobbie Kelsie's gone.
Yeah.
So
where do you want to start in all that?
Bo. I don't think it was probably. You talked in the preview about the worst kept secret was Gard being named coach, but I don't think. Probably the second worst was I think everybody knew that there were some infidelities as far as Bo was concerned, but. The UW did its investigation. They proved that he didn't use any resources from the UW to pay for any of his trips or for any of his, mistress or whatever you want to call her. And I guess it's dead, and I guess leave it be. And it certainly doesn't take away what he accomplished as a head coach. He's likely to get in the Hall of Fame this year. So, you know what? He had an affair. He's not the first. He won't be the last.
Well, and in that sense, to me, it almost becomes a non-story.
Yeah,
I mean, yes,
exactly.
I mean, the way that people like to get their news from TMZ and these places online, people are going to be curious to know about it.
Yep.
But if it really didn't come at any university expense, he didn't misuse any funds, he didn't do anything like that, then why does it even really need to be public knowledge?
He didn't break any laws. He was unfaithful to his wife. I mean, that's if there
was a story on somebody who had an affair every day, then we wouldn't have anything else in the paper.
There'd be nothing else to write about. No.
So I mean, I certainly don't really condone what he did, but
nope.
At the same time, you just kind of question if it needed to become
how pertinent of information was it,
right.
and people think that everybody sat on it. I don't think anybody sat on it. We just until you have proof of something, it's pretty hard to state your claim or state what you think happened. And, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, the university is done in dealing with it, investigating it, and they've obviously, with Greg Gard coming on board, they've moved on. It seemed like everything was leading up to this Tuesday introductory press conference for Greg Gard, but I guess now that it is official and done, I mean, you just got to tip your hat to what he's been able to do here since he took over in December. Getting this team to tie for third in the Big Ten. Surely they're going to make the NCAA tournament when the bracket comes out on Sunday, and those are things that when he took over were pipe dreams for anybody that follows that program. No way we would have thought. We didn't even think they'd get an NIT bid. After they lost to Northwestern, I thought, you know what? This isn't a very good basketball team. I think I put that on social media, and a lot of people, said, why don't you be quiet and let things pan out? And as usual, I was wrong, and that's okay because I was wrong in a good way in the sense that, here we are 2 months later, and the Badgers are on the cusp of making the tournament for, I think, the 19th straight year or something like that. And probably not a team anybody wants to play.
No, and I would think it'll kind of depend on what happens this week at the Big Ten tournament, but people pointing to 7 or
6
an
to
8
9,
seed,
I would
or
think,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if you're a 1 or a 2 seed, that's probably not the team you want to face in the second round.
No, and I think they'll, certainly get by Rutgers or Nebraska on Thursday. And the tough thing for UW is if they were to even get to the championship game, you got to win 4 games. You got to win 3 games to get there and 4 to win it all. And that's a tough task. And this is the first time in a few years they haven't had that double bye. But still, get by Nebraska. Probably Rutgers, I don't think, won a game. So get by Nebraska. You get Maryland on Friday.
They won one. Remember, they beat Minnesota at the end of the year because they had like 4 guys playing. So.
Yeah, and
then you got to play. Then you got to
play Maryland, which you beaten them at their place. Maryland, I think, really did not play well the last month of the year, and you get by them, then you're in the semifinals, and I think that would just be icing on the cake. And I hate to say this, but maybe a part of me wishes they don't get to the championship game because that's 4 games in 4 days, and I'd rather have them be a little fresher for the NCAA tournament, especially if you open up on that Thursday.
We'll see how that pans out, and then we'll know by this time next week where they're sit in the NCAA tournament, where they're going, what day they're playing. I guess I think they might lose to Maryland actually in the big.
I did too, and I could certainly see it, and I don't think that may drop them down 1 or maybe possibly 2 seeds, but I think they're set in between a 7, 8, or 9, something like that. I think obviously if they have a good showing, they could move up to 6. But in all likelihood, they're going to be matched up where their second round game would be against a 1 seed. But you know what? This is a good year to have that because who are the 1 seeds is really scares you. I mean, they're looking at Oklahoma, Kansas, Michigan State, and Villanova, possibly those 4. I mean, the Badgers can play with any of those teams. I mean,
they've shown they can pretty much play with
anybody. So, it's not like last year where you had some definite favorites. I think this year it's wide open, and you get a 1 seed on that second game. Who knows? I mean, anything could happen.
I guess the only team they didn't show they could play with was like Western Illinois
or UWM,
Milwaukee,
yeah, or where really. Purdue kind of handled them. Purdue handled them both.
I guess
times.
we don't really need to. We don't need to
go
bring
back to that up. That's like bringing up the whole bowl thing. Just let it go. It's the past.
Speaking of basketball tournaments, we got one area team left. Evansville boys in the Division III WIA tournament. They go to sectionals this week, Thursday night versus East Troy. It's the 4 seed versus the 2 seed. And a rubber match of Rock Valley North rivals. So
yes.
That's a pretty interesting matchup. And we knew it would be a pretty good fight there in that Division III regional and sectional. But it's kind of fun to see these two get one more chance to see who wins the best of 3.
Well, and I think Steve Krupke will probably be a little bit mad when he sees me on Thursday because the last 2 times I've been there that they played East Troy has just shot lights out. And that's what Evansville can't allow to happen. I mean, East Troy last year in the sectional semifinals scored 49 the first half. First time this year against Evansville, they scored, I want to say, 42 the first half. And, Evansville's playing catch-up. And they're better off running their offense, getting the ball down low to Rakowski, letting Banks dribble drive and penetrate. And
they did that in the last meeting.
They did that in the last meeting. But when East Troy's hitting threes and all of a sudden you look up, you're down 15, it takes you out of what you like to do, and more importantly, it takes you out of your comfort zone. So how that game starts Thursday night at Ford is going to be big for the Blue Devils. They cannot afford to get behind early again. They need to come out, establish the tempo, and make East Troy play their game. But certainly they're capable of winning 2 games and getting to state.
The second game would be Saturday night at Wanakee against Lodi or Prairie du Chien.
Why are all the other games at 1 and that game's at 7?
Are they all at 1?
Yeah.
I don't know how the girls' games were, but now that there's not any...
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Maybe it'll change, who knows.
And because it's my birthday that day, let's try to get that game moved up to 1 o'clock. No, but I mean,
are you listening, WIA? Are you listening?
Prairie du Chien, I looked at their schedule. They've got 2 losses, but, they're not... they're certainly beatable. And Lodi, the other team in that bracket, is, I think, 19-7. So, I would say a wide-open sectional. I guess I would have to say East Troy is a favorite just because they're the most experienced of those 4 teams. Lodi's been to state as well. But I think East Troy probably has the most firepower, but I think Evansville might be the most complete team. I mean, and they've gotten better as the year's gone on and really playing well. And you talk about Brennan Banks and Rakowski, who are very good, but Milky and Mogg and Reese and those guys are all have all stepped up and have played great supporting roles on that team.
It seems like one of those three comes up every night.
Every night, yeah.
You can try to stop one of them, and the other one's going to have a bit.
And the one I think the one that impresses me most, obviously Brennan Banks can play. He's as good as there is in our area, but Mielke's the one that really impresses me. Just a super athlete, quarterback in the football team, and a kid that
he's only a sophomore.
He's only a sophomore, and boy, he can get up. He's athletic. He's quick. And he does a lot of the little dirty things that need to be done, and he's going to be somebody to watch the next couple of years.
There's a game at Craig Thursday night.
There is.
Sun Prairie versus Muskego. So if you're hanging out Thursday night and you still need to watch some basketball, there's one right here in our backyard.
Surprised by that. I really thought Madison East would be the team they'd play, but Muskego, they were a top seed last year, and Craig went in and beat them, and now this year.
Well, I think there was some weird fouling thing with Dang in that regional final game that helped Muskego kind of move on.
Yeah, so now you're looking at Memorial, Madison West, which is a surprise, Sun Prairie and Muskego. So you'd hope.
You'd think Sun Prairie Memorial probably in the sectional final. I would think so.
And again, I said it earlier in the year. Don't be surprised if Memorial's right back at state because once they get everything squared away and. A lot of times with that team, you can just roll a ball out and let them go play, and that's what they do, and their talent just takes over.
A couple of the girls' teams that made sectional last week, you saw Milton. They didn't have, obviously, their best performance in the first half of that game, but I think like we said here last week, they did some stuff here at the end of the year and built some momentum kind of going forward.
They did, and the future's bright. I think Kate Quaddy was the only senior on that team, so the Red Hawks going to be a force to be reckoned with next year. They do play in the Badger South, which was very good this year with two teams at state, with Stoughton and Edgewood both playing at state. So, Edgewood
both might win state.
Edgewood at state, and they finished fourth in their conference. So that'll tell you something how good that conference was. But no, the Red Hawks, certainly played well, and certainly a shout out to the Cougars from Janesville Craig, who once again, we talked about that tough task of playing Middleton and Verona back-to-back, and Verona got the good start, and the Cougars just could never get it going offensively. But
probably played their best game all year against Middleton, and it was just kind of something to watch, and they just couldn't quite carry it over against Verona on Saturday. But I don't think many people thought they would get back to a sectional final after you lose Al Hughes, and they did. So props to them.
And early on during the year, I thought they would, because I thought they missed her too much. But they learned to play together as a team, and certainly
turned it on at the end.
And we talked about it last week. Delaney Schonenberger was playing as well as anybody in our area the last month and a half. I mean, she just turned it on. And
because of it, she got maybe an extra game or two, got to 1,000 points. Only the second Cougar ever to do that in the girls' side, and she set the single season program scoring record, which is pretty impressive.
That is very impressive.
Beat Al Hughes by single-digit points, I think, so maybe 9 or something like that. But a good finish and a good year for the
very
Cougars.
Good. Yep.
Also around here this weekend, the Jets are back in town.
Jets.
It's been seems like it's been forever since they've even been home.
Fargo or Nome or Anchorage or
Kenai
River and
Fairbanks, and then they were up in Minnesota last weekend, and it just seems like it's been forever since they've been here. But they get 3 points at Minnesota, and after they play at Coulee Region Thursday, that team comes back here for 2 more, and Janesville's in 3rd, Minnesota's in 2nd, so this is another big weekend to try to gain some ground.
Well, and the thing is that you look at it, we don't have much else going on. The boys play on Thursday night. We don't have anybody in the girls' state tournament. So, again, good chance for local folks to get on to the Janesville Ice Arena this weekend. It's not as cold anymore, and get a chance to watch the Jets. It's good entertainment, and they're playing well. And, the Jets have led the NHL and NAHL the last couple years in Division I recruits, and I don't think it's much different this year. And
got another one last week,
and you look at Matt Jerusik at Wisconsin, who, Wisconsin picked up their first Big Ten win. I can't believe I'm saying that, but he stood on his head and was stellar in the net for them and got them a win. So, it's good hockey, and it's, like I say, this Friday night and Saturday night, it's give people around here something to do.
And this is the key playoff run here. I mean, Fairbanks has kind of run away with the division a little bit, but you can get to 2nd, and that could be big. And it's against this Minnesota team that comes in here.
Real big, yep.
It's probably between those 2 teams for 2nd place. So,
yep.
Big games this weekend, and we'll see. They play a lot here in town in March.
Yep. So their home schedule's heavy at the Janesville Ice Arena. It is the last month.
You get a chance to get down there and see them here as the playoff stretch gets here. What else? Anything else, Vaughn? What's the weekly NASCAR update?
Kenseth, 0 for 3, Vaughn. What's going on?
He's not off to a good start.
Are we racing this weekend?
Yeah, we're in Arizona.
Arizona, all right.
Arizona, okay.
In Florida. And so, yeah, race is getting going. In a couple weeks, we'll be all the series racing.
There you go.
Wake us up for Talladega.
That's right. Talladega Nights.
Or Bristol or something. We'll be back here next week, break down our brackets, make some terrible Final Four picks, I imagine, help you know who not to pick. We'll
right.
Make our picks, and you'll know who not to pick in your bracket, and we'll see where the Badgers wind up seed-wise and who they've got to go up against. And, well, enjoy the Big Ten tournament this weekend.
That's right.
If you want, you can leave us a note, leave us a review on iTunes, or comment on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, or even email us at sports@gazetteextra.com. Find us on Twitter. You never know if you send us a comment, good, bad, or otherwise. We'll probably just read it here somewhere.
Why not?
We're still waiting on like our second or third
Maybe
one.
bring you on as a guest. We don't know.
Thanks to Dave Vaughn, our producer, and Kevin McLeod for music. And we'll be back here for the true March Madness next week.
Take care, everybody. Go Badgers.